Hi, my name is Hutch, and welcome to the very first installment of Words from Dusty Shelves. This is my friend here. His name is Wanaji Wachibi. That's a Lakota word meaning ghost dance. Wanaji and myself are going to help you understand human behavior, but more importantly, your behavior. We're going to talk about life and nature and the connection therein. So welcome on this journey, the first fledgling journey. Today we're going to discuss stress. I want to talk about stress, but more importantly, the very origin of stress. Now, stress comes in many forms, as you know. Perhaps you're stressed out by your kids, you're stressed out by your job, you're stressed out by your life, the very life itself. But let's look at the origin of that. How does this happen in the first place? This is a little diagram I created here using two sticks and some dandelions. This stick over here represents the past. This stick over here, of course, the future. The most important one are these dandelions representing the now. What's going on right now as I speak? Most people get stressed by simply traveling the timeline of their lives. Listen to that again. You travel the timeline of your life. You go back in the past and talk about what you don't have. I wasn't loved. I was the third child. I'm divorced. This happened to me. Or you go into the future. I need more money. What if I lose my job? I can't trust anyone. We get stressed out by simply traveling this line, and that's where our stress begins. But if we stay here, right now, in the very moment itself, you'll find there are no car payments, there is no ugly divorce from 3 years ago, the kids aren't here to bother me. Right now, in this moment, there is no stress. If there were something that was stressing me, I would simply deal with it. I wouldn't have time to travel that timeline. So we're going to learn how to deal with things in the now, because that's what's real. So many of us think we know the future. Well, I know tomorrow I got to pay my car payment. You don't know about tomorrow. Sadly, you're one car accident from changing your whole life. One diagnosis for cancer. You never know. And that's the negative side. There's some positive things that happen to us too. The past cannot be changed. It's immutable. And yet we always go back and make reference to it. She cheated on me. She left me, they say. Those things cannot be changed, yet we carry them with us as if it affects the now. It only affects the now if you bring it here. If you take your emotional baggage and lug it along into the present. Of course we realize that stress affects us in so many ways. Let's look at a few. Number one, it affects the way you sleep. You've all been so stressed out or worried about tomorrow that you can't sleep tonight. You're in the future, worried about what's going to happen, what am I going to say, what am I going to do? And right now, you can't fall asleep, even though you need that sleep. Your mind is in the future, and you are stressed out about the future, because you are not here in the present. We experience stress and digestion. You've all been there, you've eaten, and you say, oh my God, I can't even, my stomach's in knots, I'm just so stressed out. We know that stress affects the body in the form of ulcers, in the form of neck pain, back pain, sleeplessness, in so many ways. But here's the thing. We often don't think about how stress affects others. Much like a pebble falling into a pond, creating concentric circles, so too stress affects those around you. Perhaps you've been stressed out, you drove aggressively, you cut someone off, or someone cut you off. Stress affects us in so many ways. I can't address all of them right here, right now. But let's talk about affecting others. Perhaps you sat next to someone who had a nervous disorder and they tick. And you can actually feel the energy of stress coming off them. And you may ask them, could you please not do that? Yet they're unconscious of their ticking behavior, the legs moving, maybe the nail biting, just because they're so stressed. The funny thing about stress is this. It's not real. It's just not real. Think about it. I can't give you a half a pound of stress. Why? Because it's intangible. It's only real to you. If you were worried about going up on stage and singing karaoke perhaps, and that was your concern, you create and manifest this stress that's all in your head. It's not real. And you're so nervous and stressed out about singing on stage in front of people. And yet, me, standing next to you, is excited about singing. I interpret this event of going up and singing karaoke is something wonderful and fun and joyous, actually. So stress isn't a real thing, it's a mental thing. And it's how you process the events of your life coming in that create stress or dissolve stress. So in conclusion, I want to thank you for tuning in to Words from a Dusty Shelf, our first installment. Many more to come. You know, in my lecture series, I talk about stress in great detail. I'm going to give you a little hint and preview of what I do here today. So for myself and my good friend, Wanaji Wachipi,